Think about the most important day of your life. Not your graduation, not your first kiss, not the day you got your first job, the most important day, the day you entered existence, the day you were born. Now try to remember it. You can't, not a single second. You don't remember the room, you don't remember the faces, you don't remember the sound of your own first cry. In fact, you probably don't remember anything from your first few years of life. And that's strange, because you were there. Your eyes existed, your brain existed, you experienced those moments. So where did they go? Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that every memory from the last 3 years had disappeared. You would panic. You would feel as if part of your life had been stolen. Yet that has already happened. Every one of us has lost years of our lives. Not days, not weeks, years, and most people never stop to wonder why. Scientists call this phenomenon infantile amnesia. Almost nobody remembers being born. Almost nobody remembers being 1 year old. Most people remember very little before the age of 3 or 4. It's one of the most universal experiences on Earth. Yet it's also one of the strangest, because those years shaped who you became. Your first experiences, your first fears, your first attachments, your first moments of comfort, all of them helped build the person you are today, yet you cannot access them. It's like discovering that the first chapters of your own story have been torn out. For a long time, people assumed the answer was simple. Babies must not be forming memories. But that explanation turned out to be wrong. Researchers discovered that babies do create memories. They can recognize faces, they learn patterns, they remember sounds, they remember people. In some experiments, infants remembered things weeks or even months later, so the memories were there, at least for a while, which creates a bigger mystery. If the memories existed, why can't you access them now? One explanation involves language. Think about your oldest memories. Most of them contain words, stories, concepts, a sense of who people were. But when you were a baby, language barely existed. You experienced the world directly, without narration, without explanations, without the voice in your head that is reading these words right now. It's possible your earliest experiences were stored in a format your adult mind can no longer understand, like trying to open a file from a computer that no longer exists. The information may still have been there once, but the system needed to read it is gone. And then things become even stranger, because this raises a disturbing question. If you cannot remember the first years of your life, were you the same person back then? Most people immediately say yes, of course. It was my body, my brain, my life. But think carefully. Imagine someone erased every memory you currently have. Your name, your family, your friends, your beliefs, your dreams, everything. Would you still be you, or would you become someone else? The philosopher John Locke argued that personal identity is deeply connected to memory. In other words, your memories are not just something you possess. They are part of what makes you who you are. Without them, the idea of you starts becoming surprisingly difficult to define. And that means every one of us has already lived through a version of that problem. There was a time when you existed but cannot remember existing. A time when you laughed, cried, learned, and experienced reality without leaving behind memories you can access today. It's almost like there was another version of you living inside the same body, a version that disappeared, and yet somehow became you. Then another unsettling thought appears. Right now, as you're listening, your brain is constantly deleting information. Most of today's experiences will never become long-term memories. The clothes you passed in a store, the exact position of clouds this morning, the hundreds of tiny details your eyes noticed and immediately discarded. Your mind is forgetting far more than it remembers. In a strange way, forgetting is not a failure of the brain. It's one of its most important abilities. Imagine remembering every second of every day. Every conversation, every face, every license plate, every advertisement, every embarrassing mistake. Your mind would drown in information. To remember anything important, the brain must first learn what to forget. And perhaps that's exactly what happened to your earliest years. Your brain was still under construction. The system that creates lasting autobiographical memories had not fully developed. The experiences remained, the lessons remained, the emotions remained, but the detailed record vanished. Yet the deepest mystery still remains. Because even if science explains how memories disappear, it doesn't fully answer the question hiding underneath. Where were you before your first memory? Think about your oldest memory right now. Maybe you're 4 years old. Maybe you're 5. Maybe you're standing in a classroom, playing with a toy, sitting in a car. Whatever it is, that memory feels like the beginning of your story. But you existed long before that moment, years before it. So where is that person now? The child who experienced all those forgotten moments. The baby who looked at the world for the first time. The newborn who took their first breath. That person is gone. And yet they are also you. Every decision you've ever made, every relationship you've ever had, every fear, every dream, every hope, all of it was built on experiences you can no longer remember. It's as if the foundation of your identity is hidden beneath the surface, forever out of reach. And maybe that's what makes this question so unsettling. Not that you can't remember being born, but that the most important years of your life still influence every part of who you are, even though you can never truly revisit them. You were there. You lived them. You became who you are because of them. And yet, for the rest of your life, those years will remain one of the greatest mysteries you will ever carry. A missing chapter at the beginning of your own story. A chapter that belongs to you, but one you will never read again.